Jesus' first miracle was for a family that invited him home. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. My name is Chris Bailey. This is part 5 of this 5-part series. Signs that point the way, one more sign. And that's the first sign or the first miracle at a wedding at Cana. This is a beautiful story because Jesus is there in the midst. But God wants us to know he didn't just show up, he was invited. But before we wrap it up, again, thanks for watching. We really appreciate you watching and we depend on you. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, also hitting the like button that helps support the video so others can find this good word. And please pass it on to someone else. Whether you do that through social media, great. We don't do social media. We need you, though, to be social. And also visit us online. That's at changeministry.org. The entire website is there for you to enjoy and to experience, and everything is free of charge. And by the way, we'd love to come to your church, school, or group. And if you want to get in contact with us, hit on that contact link at changeministry.org/contact or send us an email. That email address is contact@changeministry.org. We end this series in miracles by looking at the first one. And the first one was at a wedding. This is a wedding where Jesus and his disciples go, but look at John 2. John 2 says, "And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there." Most of us who are familiar with this story, we know that because we're going to hear from Mary in a little bit. But look at verse 2. "And both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage." They didn't just show up. They're not wedding. Jesus was not a wedding crasher. They invited him into the midst. And that's really something to think about, because what if Jesus did not get that invitation? It wouldn't have been a miracle. And could it be that sometimes there's a darkness or there's a void or there's a space or a gap in our home, but Jesus hasn't been invited? We haven't welcomed him into the scenario. And what a blessing that this couple had the wherewithal to embrace Jesus at the beginning of their family. And that invitation is what opens them up to the very first miracle of Jesus' ministry. It says in John 2, 3-5, "And when they wanted wine, they ran into a need, even though Jesus was present." Hello, church people. "The mother of Jesus saith unto him, They have no wine. And so Jesus says to her, Woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come." So what is Mary's response? I love it. "His mother saith unto the servants, Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it." She knew that was Christ talking and not just Jesus. That wasn't her boy talking. That was the one whom all are called on, including Mary, to believe in. She was blessed and highly favored to be called of God, but it was no more than Moses was called of God, than Samson was called of God, that even Esther or anybody in the Bible was called of God. And she is called not to be worshiped, but to set an example for all of us to be faithful in whatever God has called us to do. So when Jesus puts Mary in her place, he now goes into his place, because it's here that Jesus says to them, "Fill the water pots with water," and they fill them up to the brim. I love that, because he says fill them up with water, and look at what Jesus says. He says, "Draw out now and bear unto the governor of the feast," and they bear it. Now, okay, let me reverse 11, but we're going to go back to that, because this was the beginning of miracles that Jesus did in Cana of Galilee, and he manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. So why is he doing this? So that we can believe. And automatically, boom, his disciples that were there, they were like, this is the one. So they believed, okay? And now working our way back, when Jesus said and told them what to do, he told them to fill it up with water, but he did not say, go draw out wine. He just said, go draw. So now if I had just put in water into a water pot, and if I went to go grab my scooper to go into the pot, I would anticipate water, because that's what I put in there. But even they believed. They believed, and in their faith, that miracle was shared with the whole multitude. Do you see that God is using a brand new husband and wife? He's using servants. He's using people, the caterers at the wedding. He's using them. They had faith before Peter and all the others had faith, because they were the ones who had to go scoop out water, hoping that it was going to be wine. Jesus is using Mary. He's even using Mary, and by putting her where she belongs, Mary shows her faith when she sits down and says, do whatever he says. Everybody at the wedding made space for Jesus to do his first miracle. So brothers and sisters, all these people who showed faith, from those who were with, John and James and Peter, to Mary, to the caterers, it all started with newlyweds and said, this is going to be a special day. It's going to be a beautiful day. We want Jesus to be there. It doesn't matter if we're courting someone, if we are married, just married last week, or we've been married for 30 or 40 years. We can invite Jesus into our house at any point in our family's journey. This story reveals to us that if we let Jesus into our homes, no matter where we are in the journey, he won't just show up, but if we let him, he will show out.